my picture. This one has
March 31st, 2026. Mark it in your calendar because the commingling program is officially ending, and this marks the end of one of the biggest operational shifts Amazon has made to FBA logistics for quite a while. Commingling at its core was Amazon's way of pooling together identical products from multiple sellers into a single shared bin. You send in thousands of units of the same headphones as another seller, Amazon wouldn't distinguish between them. They would just pool together whichever unit was close to the customer, no individual labels required, just manufacturer barcodes, and obviously Amazon then handled the rest. It made the whole system faster and cheaper. So virtual tracking meant lower overhead costs for sellers and faster fulfillment for buyers. So for a long time, it did make a lot of sense. But that model has had a well-documented problem in that it opens the door to counterfeit stock entering the same supply chain. So one seller acting in bad faith essentially ruins the pool for everyone else. So commingling is over. Let's break down what Amazon needs you to do right now. If you're a reseller, wholesale, retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, manufacturer barcodes are no longer accepted. So after March the 31st, this will be the case. Every unit going into a shipment needs an Amazon FNSKU label. No ifs, no buts. It has to be there. So if you're a brand owner enrolled in brand registry, you can continue using your own UPCs. Shared inventory pooling, however, is completely gone. So starting today, audit your catalog, identify every ASIN currently set to manufacturer barcodes and switch to Amazon barcodes. Your existing inventory already in the fulfillment centers is absolutely fine, it can stay, but any new shipment coming in will need to be properly labeled or you'll have delays, potential fees. So this isn't the time now to start delaying. Update your workflows now, get your team aligned and use March 31st as your cutoff date.
"2026 is a turning point for cross-border e-commerce into Europe, and there are two major changes you need to have on your radar right now."
Let's start with the one that affects the EU the most. So from the 1st of July 2026, the European Union is introducing a fixed rate of €3 customs duties. And this applies to all low consignment products entering the EU. So by low consignment, we mean anything under €150 will have an automatic charge of €3 when it comes to the customs border. And this applies to every single member state in the European Union.
To explain this and how the businesses are going to get caught, this €3 charge is actually it's not per consignment, it's purchase code in that specific consignment. So as you all know, each one of your product would have a specific HS code attached to it, which establish its tax and its duty rate. If your order that you ship to your consumers would have, say for example, an earring and a blazer, that is two HS codes which makes the charges double. So you're paying €3 per each HS code in that specific order.
And then on top of this, some countries have added an additional charge that sits on top of the €3. So for example, Italy is charging €2 on top and Romania is charging €5 on top. So you could ship that earring and then have to pay an additional €8 when it comes to the border. This has been live since January for some countries, and the French one is being introduced from March, so from right now. So the reason why we wanted to make you aware of this is if you are shipping low consignment value, so again, under €150, just know that there's going to be this additional charge. I guess you could either pay for it or you could charge your customers, But bear it in mind for your margins, bear it in mind for the customer experience. The last thing you want is for a client to buy earrings that cost them 10 euros and then they have to pay an additional 8. And the customer experience isn't going to be great. So just factor this in. And obviously you could mass import into Europe to avoid this from happening. So there are a lot of things that you could do.
Exactly. Now, layering on what's happening in Gibraltar, they will soon be entering the customs union within the EU, and they will operate as part of the EU single market for goods. So what does that mean? From April 10th, 2026, they are replacing their old import duties with this new transactional tax applied at the point of entry and not at checkout, how it used to be. It started at 15% in 2026, is due to raise to 16% in 2027 and hit 17% by 2028, aligning with the lower EU VAT rate.
Essentially, this means that the de minimis exception is gone in Gibraltar as well. And that 150 euro threshold that we were previously talking about is also being abolished. So every parcel, regardless of the value, now faces the standard customs formalities and then the transaction tax that you were mentioning.
On top of that, goods sold within the territory must meet the EU regulational standards. So if your products were only certified under the UK UCA rule, for example, you need to confirm they carry the CE mark and any regulations that would fit specifically within the EU, as it's not seen as a separate territory anymore.
The reason why we wanted to bring this up is that it just changes the entire direct-to-consumer cross-border transaction that you were doing before. So shipping into Europe is changing drastically, and it's just good to be up to date with any changes that are happening. Speak to experts if you have any questions, but essentially know that if you import into Gibraltar, the way that you do so is also changing.
So overall, if you are using, for example, the IOSS system, this is not as effective as it used to be because you have those extra taxes right now. And what we're recommending is shifting the IOSS measures into a local VAT, shipping into bulk, so you're only dealing with import VAT and duties. Obviously, you can reclaim your import VAT, try to build those duties within your prices, and then you end up maybe with an OSS number, which will help you ship throughout EU with no troubles.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, we're talking about how much is shifting, how many changes there are this year. I think what the best thing for you to do is probably invest, as you were saying, ship into that country, store in mass. Yes, it's going to be an investment and it's going to cost money to do that. But at the end of the day, your margins are going to be much better, which is the main focus of this section, is to make sure that you know how your margins are changing with all these different changes in Europe and making sure you're adapting to them. So as we always say, just give us a call if you have any questions. This is going to affect many people watching today and many that watch the recording afterwards. So just speak to an expert. We can have a look at what it is that you do and how you can maybe shift it. We can help you with your VAT and the customs side. So just as a bottom line, get your HS codes right. That's one of our biggest advice, because that is going to change the duty rate. Revisit your shipping strategy, as Khaled was mentioning, maybe ship in bulk. Don't wait until the last minute, because this is, again, affecting everyone. Everyone's going to be changing, and we just want to make sure that you're prepared for these changes. So thank you. If you do have any questions, pop them on the chat, and we'll answer them at the end.
Italian authorities are deactivating many EORI numbers, causing major supply chain disruptions. Here is what you need to know. If your old Italian EORI was linked to an EU address, reapplying correctly assigns it to your non-EU registered address. The catch: because of this address change, your current customs broker or transport provider may no longer be legally allowed to clear your goods. To keep your supply chain moving, you likely need a broker who offers indirect representation. Don't let this stall your operations. If your EORI has been deactivated or you need help navigating this change, contact us at customs@avaskgroup.com. We'll work directly with your service provider to keep your goods moving.
Expanding into Europe sounds expensive, complicated and time-consuming, but it doesn't have to be. Right now, Amazon is reimbursing sellers €1,250 to enter the Irish market. Through Avast, your VAT registration is completely free, meaning 2 years of VAT filing services with a net cost to you of $0. Register your Irish VAT with Avast before the 30th of June 2026. Activate FBA inventory in Ireland, and Amazon credits your Seller Central balance within 3 months. But that's not all. Avast's spring promo runs from March the 20th until April 20th only. Your first VAT, OSS, or IOSS registration is free. Additional registrations are 50% off. And if you're switching providers, you can get 10% off takeover filings. On EPR, register across 3 countries and save 10%. Plus, get a free GPSR assessment, and your first custom shipment is completely free. 2 promos, 0 excuses. Your competitors aren't moving, but you can. Get started with Avast today.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching this month's broadcast. We're already getting some questions on the chat, but do pop, if you think of any other ones, pop them on the chat and Laura and I will answer them now. But we'll go ahead and start with the first one. So let me put it on the screen. So which countries in the EU did we say that are coming soon for the extra charges? So Italy and Romania have been active since the start of the year. France has been active since March, so already a couple of days. And then the rest of the countries are starting from June. So everything's happening quite fast, but as I mentioned, a few countries already have this in place. So do be aware if you're sending your shipments under €150, they will be affected by these charges. And then in June, everyone will be affected in the European Union. As we said, pop any questions on the chat and we'll answer them for you, whether it's any topics that we've covered today or anything else that you can think of e-commerce related. Should we go over the spring promotion and the Ireland promotion as well?
Absolutely. So the spring promotion is live at the moment. I can see some more questions coming through, but just to cover the spring promotion. So it is currently live. It's already been for a couple of days and it is active until the 20th of April. So make sure that you look into that, see if there is anything of interest. Please feel free to reach out.
Perfect. We'll go on to the next question and then I'll go over the Ireland promotion. I think this was about the topic that you covered.
Yes. So for the products that are using manufacturer's barcode, we can't directly convert them to Amazon barcode labels, right? Do we need to create new SKUs which are using Amazon barcode labels for them? So I would double check on your Amazon settings. Typically, if you already have the listing, you already have the SKU, you should be able to modify. Anything that is currently in the fulfillment centers, you won't need to modify. So don't worry about existing products, but anything that you are sending in new. So obviously barcodes on your products, on your listings, just make sure that you are verifying them for anything new coming in.
Perfect. And then just to go over the Irish promotion. So this one is actually quite a short promotion. It finishes at the end of June. So I would encourage everyone to make use of it because Amazon is covering the 2 years of filings with us. So it's a big benefit. You don't have to pay for anything for 2 years. You'll get your Irish VAT number, and then the only charge comes in the 3rd year onwards. But at least for those 2 years, Amazon will cover the cost. And it's only a couple of providers that have partnered with Amazon for this. And we're one of them. So hopefully you can make use of that. Let's go back to the €3. So will this new €3 be auto added to the buyer order or payment? Yes. However, you can choose whether you want to pay for it or whether you want your customers to pay for it, because at the end of the day, it's on a duty free. on a duty fee. So you need to decide who you'd like to pay for this €3. Remember that some countries it's slightly more than €3. So it is a big choice that you have to make whether you would like to pay for it or your customers, and you decide that on your Incoterms when you ship into Europe. So it is automatically added and you decide who pays.
Okay, another question. Someone who came in late, do we now have to Amazon barcode everything? So yes, you can no longer use the manufacturer barcodes. Like I said, anything that is already in the fulfillment centers is fine, but it's any new products that you're going to be sending in. So just make sure that you don't have the manufacturer barcodes on those. They won't be accepted, and it's just going to cause extra delays, products sent back and things like that. So the commingling is obviously ending.
Okay, so I think that's all the questions we got for now, but we'll stay on a couple minutes just in case any more come through. Again, we talked about the barcodes, Gibraltar, the duties, spring promotion, Irish promotion, so anything that you'd like. A few comments rather than questions.
I mean, I know that from what we've been told by sellers, you do get a lot of news, emails, notifications from Amazon via email.
Yeah,
so
this one.
Probably there'll be, I mean, something in your seller central, something in the email address that you use on your Amazon seller account might have gone into spam. We do often hear about, different news not being heard of or being lost in all of these updates. So there'll be a page also, if you just, search Google, there'll be a general page where you can find more information directly on Amazon as well if you want to check there.
I'll just go back onto the €3. So Maria, you asked about if you're shipping from Germany to France under €150. In this case, it would not be applicable. So when we're talking about the charges, it's only on imports from outside the EU. So if you're shipping from the UK, from the US, from China, from the UAE, anywhere outside the EU, and your first point of entry is France, that's when it would apply. Movement of goods in between Europe, so Germany to France, Italy to France, or even France to Italy that also has this charge, that would not be applicable. So it's all good. You could still make that movement. You could still make those sales. Nothing changes. In terms of a link to the extra charge, it's just on the European Commission. So if you go onto the European Commission online, you'll see the different duty rates, the additional charges, and you'll probably see when it's applicable by country. As we said, there's March, there's January, there's June. So you can see everything on the European Commission. Then
we are a brand owner under brand registry and deliberately the only seller of our items. Can we continue to use these manufacturer barcodes? Of course, if you have a specific agreement with Amazon where you are using manufacturer barcodes and no one else is selling those products, it's unlikely that that's coming under the commingling setup anyway. So if you have a prior agreement with Amazon, then probably this is separate to what we've been discussing, which is a general program used by multiple sellers. If you're in doubt, obviously you can reach out to Amazon and double check that. But it sounds like that is separate to the commingling setup, which was obviously available to multiple sellers. So in your case, I imagine that nothing will change. But again, if you want that reassurance from Amazon, you can reach out to your account manager.
And we've got confirmation here from Leah.
So if you have brand registry, you are okay, because obviously that is separate to commingling.
Amazing.
Oh, nice. And someone has already had confirmation from Amazon. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, Simone, I mean, there's so many updates from Amazon. I know it's hard to make sure that you follow all of them. That's why we do things like this, to make sure that you do have those updates. But yeah, that's maybe why you didn't get it specifically. Perfect. Any other questions while we reach the end of the broadcast?
We're also open to any suggestions if there's any other topics that you find or you've been hearing about, or maybe notifications that you have got from Amazon and you want to have a Q&A session. We're more than happy to do that in future broadcasts as well. Any suggestions? Obviously, these broadcasts are for you, so whatever you find helpful is nice for us to show.
Perfect. Well, I think we'll leave it there. For anyone watching, remember that you do have the spring promotion and the Irish promotion for a short period of time. So we do want you to make use of these.
Yeah.
Any suggestions, as Laura mentioned, just pop them on the chat after we finish as well. And like always, we'll send you the recording and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.